Hello all, this is Gary here, a gentleman scholar. I'm attempting to smoke some capstan. And definitely not an aromatic. Doesn't taste like an aromatic. But it was on sale at pipesandtobacco.com. Pretty decent price, so I thought I'd try some out. Having difficulty lighting it. Probably because I didn't pack it right again. But that's okay. All part of the adventure, isn't it? This is Professor J.R.R. Tolkien's favorite tobacco. I want to say it's got Perique in it. I don't know. Probably just talking on my ass anyway. But I'm glad I tried it. I don't know if it's my favorite yet. I think I'm getting the hang of it. This here's one of the first pipes I ever bought. Yeah, stronger than I'm used to. It's meant to be a travel pipe, and look what happened when I was traveling with it. Nice crack there. It's been lost for a while. Finally found it again. Drinking some Great North RVP Robust Vanilla Porter, brewed here right in New Hampshire. And I'm just never going to master this, am I? Anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about politics. No, just kidding. Don't feel like discussing that anymore. It just gets me depressed. But I'm going to talk about something equally inflammatory, and that's airline travel. Interesting. It doesn't overpower you, but it doesn't go out of its way to make friends with you either, but that's just me. So, yes, the last month has been replete with tales of air rage all over the place. Of course, the big one was with United, with that passenger being dragged off. And Southwest, with that brawl happening. And American, with that flight attendant who tried to take the lady off of the airplane with the double wide stroller. She freaked out, he freaked out, another passenger freaked out at the flight attendant. Chaos ensued. And what I don't get is, traveling shouldn't be that hard. You know, I know it's stressful. Believe me, I know it's stressful. But in theory, you get on, pack your bags up, sit down, fasten your seatbelt, listen to the lame safety demo, whether it's done by your friendly neighborhood flight. Oh, by the way, I should mention I'm a flight attendant for a major airline. Hello? We listen to the safety demo, whether it's a recording or it's or whether it's done live by your friendly neighborhood flight attendants on board the plane. Think of it as performance art. I certainly do. Definitely a professor's pipe tobacco. So, my thoughts as a flight attendant on this whole thing. First of all, let me say that I'm not an airline apologist by any stretch of the imagination. They set us up to fail, much like they set you passengers up to fail, oftentimes. With a policy, like fast turnarounds. Aircrafts that are crushed up. Everything's shrunk down so we can add a new row of seats in there. Our galleys are shrunk down. Your pitch is shrunk down. There's even smaller space to deal with. And of course, tempers are going to start fraying. I get it. Travel sucks. I don't do it on my own time anymore. To me, it's just a job. Now, having said that, I do think the media likes to bash airlines. They're the villains automatically, no matter what. It doesn't matter. It's like they don't really research the facts very much. Like take I forget that flight attendant who told this one family out of, I believe it was Hawaii out to Los Angeles. I don't know which airline. I think it was my airline. I'll let you do the research on that because I don't feel like getting myself in trouble. A little trouble with this. Saying that he could lose his children if he doesn't obey crew. If he doesn't obey crew instruction. Well, first of all, the media said that was a flight attendant. It wasn't a flight attendant. It was a gate agent. First of all, just to let you know how the press misrepresents things. However, I don't agree that he should have been told that. But long and short of it is that there's always a rush to vilify airlines with this sort of thing. Now, I myself I've dropped the us and them attitude towards airlines. I'm kind of trapped with you passengers in the actual aircraft too, so I want to help you as much as I can. Store your luggage. Get you together if I can. If it's possible. But unfortunately, a lot of the times, it's not possible. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this, is that back in the days when there was a fare war going on, when people would pay cheaper than a Greyhound ticket to get from point A to point B, no one was vilifying the airlines then. I mean, people owned property all over the country because it was so cheap to travel. And passengers got used to it. It's like, oh, hey, air travel is cheap. I can just get a ticket. Even if I cancel, it won't be that expensive. But then 9/11 happened. And also a lot of consolidations happened. My own airline is merged with another airline, so that shrinks the pool even more. One more try, I'm going to give up on this. I'd like to talk and smoke at the same time, but having problems with that, so. Here we go. So as airlines get more profitable now, charging for your bags, the whole thing, they want to fill up those planes, they overbook, a lot of people don't show up. American Airlines are the only people that do this, not American Airlines the company, but American Airlines in the United States of America. It's a policy to overbook because there's a certain ratio of no-shows. And guess what? They get the money if they don't show up anyway. Pure greed. And I agree with that. But unfortunately, it's sort of become, I'm just going to put this down for right now, it's become the Jerry Springer show now. It's almost expected to wig out on an airline so you can get some coverage, so maybe you can get some remuneration from the airline. Um, I myself I can honestly say, while traveling lately, summer travel has begun, and it's kind of crazy. People who travel aren't really used to traveling. I get that. It happens every summer. The transition time takes a little work to go through, but we get there. Get there. I can honestly say on my flights, me and my crews have been proactive. As they're boarding, I help to stow luggage as best as I can. No confrontation, no anything like that. And I'm forever watching the luggage. And I let my flight leader know up front that, okay, we're at 75% full. Can you let the gate agent know that we're full up? And the word gets out, and guess what? We close the door. We take off on time. More often than not, everything's fine because everyone worked as a team. Common sense prevailed, and we just kind of had to steer the passenger flow into, just making announcements. And it's worked really well for me thus far, for us. So on any given day, on any given day, most flights take off from point A to point B without any incident. However, I've learned to not be that guy anymore. I used to be a smart ass on board the plane. Someone would hit me with a smart ass comment, I'd just right back again. And believe me, if you wanna hone your passive aggression sarcasm skills, just go to work as a flight attendant. But I've been a good boy last few years. I try to, if someone has a problem, I try to help them out. But as far as problem solving goes, it helps if the customer meets you halfway. I'll give you an example. One passenger came on board, jam-packed bag full, and I'm trying to help him put it in. It's like, can you take anything out of that bag at all? So it looks like it wants to fit in there. If you could just take some stuff out. No, I've got some vitamins in there. Okay. And I wanted to do it, couldn't do it. Are you sure you don't want to take anything out of there and just hold on to what you have on so it can fit in there? No, he didn't want to do it. So I checked the front closet. Luckily, there was some space for him there, and all turned out okay. And he's like, so you had to fit on the last flight. We hear that over and over and over again. Well, each airline has a fleet with different aircrafts. What fit on one plane isn't going to fit on the other. I just choose I don't do the us and then thing anymore. I don't like gainsay passengers. If I can help them, I will. If I can't, I'll tell them. And if they decide to throw a fit about it, then there's not a whole lot I can do. Like that woman, every now and whenever this stuff happens on board, whenever I see it on television, I think, well, what would I have done in that situation? Like the woman with the double wide stroller. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but when she freaked out in the middle of the aisle, apparently, the flight attendant wanted nothing more to do with it. It says, "You're off the aircraft. You're off the aircraft. You're off the aircraft." The way I would have handled it would have been like, okay, well, please just take a breath, calm down for a minute. I'm gonna obviously can't fit in the overhead compartment. I'm gonna see if there's room in the closet for you, and chances are there wouldn't be. And I try to explain to them calmly, this has to be checked down below. There's simply no room on board the aircraft to fit this. It's just a physical impossibility. And if she continued to give me a hard time about it, then I'd go get somebody. We have something called complaint resolutions official in the gate area, and I'd call them up and they'd come on board and hopefully explain the situation to them. I'm not going to argue with people. I'm not going to do the he said, she said thing. I'm trying to get this plane out on time. The whole point of air travel is to get from point A to point B in a civilized manner as possible. And for the most part, it does happen every day. But sometimes I find myself getting defensive sometimes when I see these pieces on airlines, like when passengers revolt. It's like, well, there's certain ways to act and there's certain ways not to act, and there's certain ways to ask for things and not to ask for things. And believe me, I know flying is stressful. I don't do it anymore. I used to go to back in my younger days, I used to go to Scotland all the time, in the UK all the time. I go as an airline employee only if there's room for me. And most often I get on, but it's stressful. Am I going to get on? Am I not going to get on? Am I going to have room for my bags? Am I not going to have room for my bags? Travel just sucks in general for anyone. And the only way you can get through it is to basically think ahead a few steps and give yourself lots and lots and lots of time. So just in case something happens, what if your plane's delayed? You're going to miss your connection. There are things in place to help you get rebooked, agents you can talk to and everything, but you have to be open towards thinking things through logically with common sense, and that goes for crew members too. It's when you work with the public, it's very easy to get jaded. Lord knows I've been there many times. And I don't want to be that guy anymore. I don't want to be that smart ass in the aisle. I want to help you. Chipmunks everywhere. I want to help you get to where you're going as quickly as possible. Believe me, I don't feel like fighting anyone on that aircraft. But I'm not going to be yelled at either for things that aren't my fault. I don't know. It's just it's always on my mind when I go to work, and I just hope it doesn't get to the point where we have to start learning we have to start learning defensive techniques and training. We already have stuff just in case someone gets too unruly. I'm trained to put tough cuffs on a person. I don't want to do that. That's a cop's job. I'm sorry. Just want you on board. Want to give you your drink and your peanuts and whatever else. And I want it to be pleasant for everyone. I especially want it to be pleasant for me. So I'm gonna be your friend. I'm gonna help you out in that regard if I can. If you have a problem, I'll try to solve it with you. But you gotta meet me halfway sometimes. I don't like telling people they can't pay. There's no more room on the plane. You're gonna have to bring it up front to check it. I don't like doing it, but sometimes I have to. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Being in the industry, I've been in the industry 26 years now, and it's a unique sort of lifestyle. I have to say, you learn to live out of a suitcase pretty quickly, and I could pack in 10 minutes if I have to. I have stuff all ready to go. I have a bigger bag packed in my trunk at work, and I've got a smaller tote bag. If the trip's shorter than 2 days, I'll just take a tote bag with me with a change of work clothes, and that's it, because it's just a job to me. So unless the layover is super cool, I'm probably just going to stay in the hotel room. They call it slam clicking. And unless it's really cool, or unless it's really someplace I've never been before and I want to write out postcards and just see the place, I'm most likely going to stay in. If there's no time to walk around, if it's not a particularly exciting layover, I just won't go out, because half the time you're exhausted anyway. You have 4:30 a.m. sign-ins and everything like that. But yeah, if I were to offer you any bit of advice, if you're going to be air traveling, just the first and foremost, just leave yourself lots and lots and lots of time. Be as self-sufficient as you possibly can, because if you're unprepared for it, if you're not used to it, it can be stressful enough. So if you just I really wish airlines would get together and form a sort of a for your information type of card to kind of educate the traveler. What's going to happen to you? What can be expected when you travel? How you can help yourself travel more smoothly. And that would be very, very helpful, because let's face it, there are a lot of people out there that have never flown before. And it shows, and I'm happy to help them out, but sometimes it's it's not just about you. There's 120 other people on board the plane. I have to help out too. So, yeah, it's just stuff that I have to keep at the top of my head now, especially now that it seems like twice a week you hear about someone freaking out on an airline or something. And I just don't want to be a part of that scenario. I don't want to be on one of those flights, I guess I should say. But anyway, I've bored you enough with that. I'm going on 19 minutes now, 20 minutes now. So I'm going to do a couple shout-outs. Embo24 is back. Glad to see him again. It's been a while. He's down in Dallas. Beard is always a pleasure to listen to. He likes to play music, but he ran into some copyright problems on YouTube. I would like to play music too, but if I'm going to get zapped with if I'm going to get slaps on the wrist for playing copyrighted material, I would just as soon not do it. I know everything's corporate, I get it. If someone has to pay the bills, but I'd like just to get my message out there. I don't feel like having a, read the fine print or call a lawyer to see if it's okay if I can play like the latest Depeche Mode album or something. By the way, I'm listening to it in my car. It's pretty good. If you like sort of like dark industrial electronica, good stuff. Holy Smoking Pipe Padre, as usual. Always good to hear him. Who else? Who else do I... The Mindful Pipe. Johan from Sweden. Johan from Sweden. He's a pretty philosophical fellow. Always good to listen to him. Grandpa Cavendish. Just a good guy. I could listen to him talk all day. I love his Long Island accent. That's really about it. I'm sure once I turn off the camera, I'm going to think of a million things to say. But I just want to get this out there. Say hello to you folks. Made many friendships in the pipe community because of this. I just have to learn how to be able to talk and smoke at the same time, apparently. Regarding caretaking of pipes, I saw this bit on a Facebook pipe thing. Someone got sold a pipe. Don't people take care of their pipes? And it's like, well, I guess I'm one of those people. My pipe rack is a plastic bag with my tobacco, so I'm not quite at that serious point yet where I have pad, something like that. This is one of the first pipes I ever got. Like I said, it was a travel pipe. It's small enough to be a travel pipe, and of course, in putting the stem in, I just kind of cracked a little bit with my big gorilla hands. A little bit annoying. So I guess it's good to not get too attached to these pipes. My church warden has a small crack in it too. I don't know if it's from the heat or what, but because I'd like to take care of the pipes, but I also don't want to get too attached to them either because they're not museum pieces. They're there to be smoked. And boy, this practice is something. It's a learning curve. It's a lifelong learning curve, but. I'm glad I got my taste of capsin. I don't regret buying it, but it's a little stronger than I'm used to. So when I'm in the mood for a manly man, sort of scholarly smoke, I'll be lighting up again, and I'll also be thinking of Professor Tolkien. God bless him and his many fictional works that have enriched the rest of us. Thing with reading The Hobbit is, and all things related to Middle Earth, if you come in it completely cold. Oh yeah, he's writing about hobbits. He's writing about fairies. He's writing about elves and orcs and dwarves. Oh, it's fantasy. It's fairy tale stuff. It's like, no, it's actually, this is very... Tolkien was a philologist. He created languages, and then he created races that spoke those languages. So it was a very, very work-intensive, layered, intellectual approach. And reading him's not easy. I'm not going to say he's dry, but he's very, very detailed. And he pays particular attention to the poems that he writes, like elven poems. If you ever read Lord of the Rings, there'll be entire the action will be moving along, and then suddenly someone will stop to recite an old elven poem or an old dwarvish poem or whatever, because he loves language and he loves putting it down. So you have to go along with him for the ride. And as I get older, I appreciate it more. When I was younger, first reading his work, along with the Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. It's great music to read the Rings trilogy, too, I have to say. But yeah, I was like saying to myself, this is kind of slow moving. When's something's going to happen? When is something going to happen? Blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not the point. Sometimes you have to read to, he wants to show you this world that he created. And I'm sure he created much of it while smoking his capstan and scribbling in a notebook. And he's been building Middle-earth ever since he was... a young man serving in World War I, so we just see the tiniest sliver of his legendarium, as he calls it. You read the Silmarillion; it's like the Bible of Middle Earth, and what we're reading in Lord of the Rings is the tiniest little sliver of it towards the end of the Third Age, I believe, before the Age of Man starts. I'm not a Tolkien scholar, so I don't know. But anyway, I've babbled long enough. I hope all of you folks are well out there. If Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Any questions about my job? Any hints about how I can be a better pipe smoker? Please feel free to lend your wisdom to me. Can never get enough mentors. As holy smoking, as Padre Stevenson has constantly said. Like the beer can, like the tin can and wind chimes behind me. That's a creation of my husband's. All right, ladies and gentlemen, folks in the YouTube pipe community, I've babbled enough. Take care, have a good day, and we'll speak to you soon. À la prochaine, as the Québécois say. Until the next. Cheers.